So well friends, here in this class today, we are to discuss about the definition of co-curricular activities. In the first class relating to this area, we discuss about the concept of co-curricular activities. And for discussing about the definitions of co-curricular activities, we are to discuss in short, or we must have to have the concept, clear concept concerning to the total types of the processes of education. And when we see or study the types of the processes of the total educational exercise, we find three specifications. The first one is the formal education, second one is informal education, and the third one is non-formal education. On the formal education, you know so much well, formal education is such type of education where by following all types of or all kinds of formalities, education is imparted to the participant learners or the students, and it is time specific. There is a fixed time limit of entry into the system. There is a fixed time limit of exit from the system. It is exam oriented. After the examination, students are given certificates as well as mark sheets like this. Formal education is totally curriculum-based education, and we have detailed discussion about curriculum. And here you see, in the formal process of education, there is the special significance or importance of curriculum about which we have already discussed in detail. Without curriculum, friends, the process of education never can be completed. Means it is very much, it is not possible to help to continue the formal process of education without curriculum. And co-curricular activities, once we come to this area, then we see that co-curricular activities are those special or most important activities which have specific link with the curricular activities. Education, friends, as you understand, is regarded as a tripolar process where at the upper pole the educator or the teacher or the communicator occupies own place. Means from the terminology of educational technology, education, once we have to define it as a process of spatial communication. And when we discuss it from traditional parameter, education is such a process where necessary knowledge, necessary information are transmitted to the students for the development of their personality attributes. Let us see the next slide. At the lower pole, it is a tripolar process. Now you see to the diagram. This is the first pole, this is the second, and this one is the third. At the upper pole, the place of teacher is being reserved. The learners is at the second pole, and in the third pole, curriculum is being placed. Means without the presence of all these three most important segments, the formal process of education can't take place. And this is the process of education where there is the importance or there is the significance of the presence of teachers, there is the necessity of the presence of the learners or the students, and there is the necessity of the presence of curriculum. At the lower pole, as you have seen in the diagram, you see of the process, the students remain present or the learners remain present. Curriculum, as you understand, is the basis on which the process of education basically depends. Without curriculum, friends, educators or the teachers or the communicators and students or the learners or the participant learners cannot accomplish their academic activities, and they never can learn in the formal process. Let us see the next. Education, as you understand so much well from the parameter of formal process of education, aims at the development of the personality of a whole man. Friends, when or at the time of defining education, you can define it as the process of developing the capabilities or the, qualities or the attributes of a whole man. Education is such a process with the help of which we can help to develop all the capabilities, all the human attributes or personality attributes of the human child or the learner, for helping to develop total personality. And for the accomplishment or achievement of such broad goal of education, holistic goal of education means developing the personality of a whole man. Both curricular and co-curricular activities have special importance. So why co-curricular activities are important in the formal process of education? Friends, co-curricular activities are very important activities which are inclusive in the curriculum of the formal process of education, so as to help the learners to develop all types of personality attributes for developing the personality of a whole man. And when we study personality in psychology, we see that personality has three specific parameters. The first one is the physiological or the physical parameter or aspect. Second one is the mental aspect or the intellectual potentialities. And third one is the moral aspect. So friends, with the help of the process of education, we help our learners develop their physiological capabilities, mental attributes, and moral capabilities or qualities. And for the development of all the physiological attributes, there is the demand or necessity of co-curricular activities, which are the indispensable or very necessary, elements of the whole curriculum of the formal process of education. Let us see the next one. Curriculum, as you understand so much well, basically, what does curriculum do? It helps to realize the basic aims and objectives of a specific system of education. Curriculum includes different important contents of a subject which are treated important for the development of different aspects of the personality of the learners or the students or the participant students, so that they can get the chance to develop their personality of a whole man. Means they can have the chance to develop their physiological attributes, mental or intellectual capabilities, and moral, qualities. And once we say, development of the attributes of personality in totality is the prime objective of education. Means when we say about the objective of education, or if you put a question, what are the objectives of education? The basic objective of education is the development of the attributes or capabilities or qualities of personality, means the physical capabilities, mental qualities or attributes, and the moral capabilities in totality is the prime objective of education. Means education is a process of development of the personality of a whole man. Let us see the next. Curriculum is a mirror of an educational process which reflects the ideologies, philosophies, values, scientific and technological elements, needs of life, specialities of culture of society, social history, religious ideologies, etc. of social life. And if you consider this to be a mirror, going or standing before the mirror, you can see yourself. Means who you are or what kind of qualities you do have. And the curriculum of formal system of education is treated or is considered as the mirror of the whole educational process, where the ideologies, philosophies, values, scientific and technological elements, needs of life, specialities of culture of society, social history, religious ideologies, etc. of social life of man are well reflected on education. Friends, as you understand, is such a process with the help of which we transact the knowledge concerning to the ideologies which are in operation in the social system for the total transformation of society, the philosophies for the foundation or for the existence of life, and the values for maintaining human relationship, scientific and technological elements with the help of which advancement of social order is possible, uplift of life is possible, and the needs of life, because without fulfilling the needs of life with the help of the process of education, we do not have the value of the education which we acquire. Specialities of culture of society, which is to be the knowledge concerning to the specialities of cultural system, is to be imparted with the help of the process of education. Friends, culture, to understand it, we can say that culture basically is the soul of a state, of a nation. Culture is the soul of a nation, soul of a state, and education is such a process with the help of which we can impart the learners or the students all knowledge relating to this cultural specification of a specific social order of a nation or of a state. The history, knowledge concerning to the history, we can impart to the learners, because they are to learn, they are to know about their past, about the social order of their past. They are to know so much well about the past of their nation. Friends, J.F. Kennedy said, the world and the time do not stand still. Sense is the law of nature. And for understanding the present, we have to understand, or we must have knowledge relating to our past. And for planning for future, with the help of the process of education which is being well accomplished, you see, we must have thorough knowledge relating to the past, and we must have proper understanding concerning to our present, relating to all these ideologies, philosophies, values, scientific and technological elements, needs of life, specialities of culture of society, etc., etc. Let us see the next one. Curriculum, as you understand, basically includes academic and academically important subject matters and activities to help students to develop personality in totality, means the personality of a whole man. Curriculum is a means to help to realize the philosophy and aims and objectives of education that are determined according to the demand of time and life, for helping the learners to understand their present necessities, to contribute their share in the process of social transformation, at the same time by using education live life successfully. And once we study the process of education, we see these things which have close link with the total process of education: the philosophy of the society, the aims of the process, and the objectives of the total process. These are the three parameters, or these are the three pyramids which do have close link with the process of education. And the curriculum is to reflect the specialities of the philosophy of social order, aims of life and the nation, objectives of the exercise of education. Let us see the next slide. You see, co-curricular activities, now let us come, are the essential part of curricular activities. Co-curricular activities, in a sense, are the most essential part of curriculum. See, friends, for understanding curriculum, we have to understand co-curricular activities, because these are the indispensable parts of curriculum. Co-curricular activities can be defined as joint activities which help every educative process to accomplish set goals. And I have already mentioned in the earlier slide about the aims of education and objectives of education. And for understanding about the aims of education, at the same time for understanding about the objectives of education, you are to understand the meaning of aim and the meaning of objective which have well been placed here. Let us see. A result that is planned or actions those are intended to achieve is aim. What does aim mean? Aim is a result that is planned or actions those are intended to achieve. An objective, something that is planned to accomplish or achieve is objective. Once we say as aim of education, once we say as objectives of education, then we must have proper concern as well as knowledge relating to the planned activities or our intentions for achieving the target. At the same time, once we say as the objective of the process of education, then we must have to understand about the total planning for accomplishing or for achieving the specific aim, and that is objective. Let us see the next slide so that we can have such activities. Means co-curricular activities are the means to help every educative process to perform dynamic roles so as to accomplish diverse goals of education. Co-curricular activities are very important activities which help curriculum to satisfy the requirements of the learners. Curriculum, as Munro, he is one of the famous American educationists, defines, this is the definition of Munro concerning to curriculum, embodies all the experiences which are utilized by the school or college or a university to attain the aims of education. Let us see the next one. You will see all this. This is Paul Munro. He was born in 1869 and he died in 1947. He was an American educationist. The curriculum from this point means following the explanations of Munro of view may include the syllabus. Now see our syllabus, which is the detailed statement. Syllabus, what is the definition of syllabus? It is the detailed statement of subject material, the program which determines the way in which material taught to the students by the teachers is to be interrelated and ordered, and to some extent the methodology with the help of which transaction of knowledge and dissemination of information to the students from teacher, which determines the way in which materials is accurately presented in the classroom. This is the explanation of Munro. Let us see the next one. To explain the nature and conception of the desired curriculum of a system of education, the Secondary Education Commission or Mudaliar Commission of 1952 opined, and I like to quote here for your clear understanding relating to the concept of curriculum, at the same time for realizing the significance of co-curricular activities, which are the very important parts of curriculum. We are to repeat. Secondary education, it means Dr. L.K. Mudaliar said, or he explained, I like to quote, it must be clearly understood that according to the best education thought, curriculum does not mean only the academic subjects traditionally taught in the school, but it includes the totality of experiences that a child receives at school, and that's why to acquire different types of experiences for the realization of the significance of life, there is the necessity of co-curricular activities, on which are the very important one of the most important segments of curriculum. In this sense, means by following the sense of the Secondary Education Commission of 1952 and 53, means by following the explanations of L.K. Mudaliar, the whole life of the school or the college or the university becomes the curriculum which can touch the life of the students or the learners at all points and help in the evolution of a balanced personality. And friends, here is the importance of co-curricular activities. Co-curricular activities are such activities with the help of which we can help the learners to develop all types of physical or physiological attributes, mental or intellectual capabilities, and moral, qualities for the development of holistic personality. And that's why once you are to explain about the significance of co-curricular activities and you are to define about co-curricular activities, you are to explain all these. Co-curricular activities are such activities which are very much important, part of the curriculum of a formal system of education for the development of holistic personality, and or in other terminology, personality of the whole man, which is the prime concern of every system of education. So friends, by studying the contents of all these slides, I am confirmed that your conception concerning to the formal process of education, informal process of education and non-formal process of education will be clear enough. At the same time, your conception concerning to the definitions of education will also to some extent be clear, and your idea relating to curriculum will be clear. At the same time, your idea relating to the concept of co-curricular activities also will be very clear. Thank you so much. You study the contents so much well, so that you can, by following the contents of these slides, you can write in details about everything else. Thank you so much.